you'll start seeing improvement in your score. Let me close with one more tip, a very personal one. Bowling has been my work for almost 5 decades, but it's also been my play. I've been luckier than most people in being able to combine the two. But for most of you out there, bowling shouldn't be work. It should be fun. And improving your game is a way to make bowling even more fun. You may not always beat your average or clobber the other team, but if you're having fun, I promise you this game will never get old.
Coming up, highlights from Dick Weber's 5 decades as a professional bowler. Don't miss these great moments of the world's greatest bowler in action.
Back when I was a kid, Dick Weber was the star in bowling, and even more so in the St. Louis area where I grew up. And it's really been an incredible pleasure for me to go through the different levels that I've gone with Dick. First as a kid, bowling in junior archway tournaments with him, and getting to know him. Then, as my career went forward, I actually got to bowl against him on the national tour, and there's probably no bigger thrill in my lifetime than the first time I actually got to cross on the same lanes with Dick Weber, bowl 18 games of qualifying. Even though it wasn't the first tournament I ever bowled on the big tour, it was a tremendous thrill. I was nervous the whole time. Not only have I had the great opportunity to bowl with or against Dick Weber, but I've also had the opportunity to be with him on different levels. When I was in college, I worked for Dick Weber. Like any other college kid trying to make it through school, I needed some extra money, so I worked at a bowling center, which is no big surprise. And Dick was my boss. It was his center, and I worked 3 nights a week for Dick, and that was an interesting experience as well. I now have Dick Weber working for me. Well, actually, it's with me, but I'm in charge of the staff of champions, and Dick Weber certainly is our biggest one of those. And so it's been a great honor to work with Dick doing these videos and many of the other things that go along with the AMF staff of champions. In this video, you will see some of the highlights of Dick's 5 decades of bowling. The first one is the 1956 All-Star, where he bowls one of his biggest challengers and one of the other true greats of the game, Don Carter.
To the finals of the 16th annual All-Stars tournament, direct from the Coliseum in Chicago.
And here is Dick Weber. Dick Weber with his special thumb guard, which Pete Trinasti gave him 3 All-Stars ago at this site in the Coliseum, and which he has now made into a thriving business, and which almost every bowler in this tournament has worn toward the closing stages of this 100-game grind. This is the 98th game in 9 days. On 2. That's it! Boy! And Dick Weber isn't out yet. Battling against his teammate on the Budweisers, and herein lies a tremendous story, too, as these 2 men, teammates on the Buds team out of St. Louis, the national 5-man champions, perhaps, and one of the greatest teams ever assembled in the history of bowling. This is it, the National Individual Match Game Championships, and this is Don Carter, 2-time winner. Let's take a good look at him. We may see history set tonight. And here is Dick Weber. Their totals have come very close to the greatest total ever assembled in sanctioned bowling, that of the Herman Undertakers. Dick on 1. That's it, boy!
In this next video, Dick takes on another one of his big-time challengers, Billy Whaleu. This is the 1963 All-Star, and it was his second of 4 All-Star victories. The All-Star is considered by many to be the toughest tournament of all times to win because it takes 100 games to get to the end.
Welcome to the $100,000 World Series of Bowling, the final games of the 22nd Annual All-Star Tournament of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America.
And into the big one here, $15,000 to the winner, $8,000 to the runner-up. The defending champion, Dick Weber, would like to make it 2 in a row to become the 3rd man to repeat. Weber opened with 233. Whaleu had 205. We are through 6 frames. Weber is 95 strike in the 6th. Whaleu is 88 strike in the 6th. The margin is 28 pins. Weber is out in front. Dick is on the left side. These lanes have never been tested by these 2 boys. They're neutral lanes. He's thin. He carries all but the 5 pin. It's a life for Billy Whaleu. A big fella, 6 feet 4 inches. Set an all-time high in the qualifying rounds. He averaged 225 for the 36 games. There's the 7 pin as Billy to carry his shaker. Well, there's one he can work on. A strike in the 8th. However, Weber will set a new record for the finals. It'll be right around 221. His average for the entire tournament of 95 games will be around 221. And the 5-pin stands as Weber settles for 205. Welu now, the final ball in the 10th frame, and this will be the final of the 10,765th game, and that's it. 10,765 games have been bowled in this, the 22nd Annual All-Star Bowling Tournament. We'll be back to interview the winners, Marion Ledwick and Dick Weber, in just a moment.
In the 60s, another great bowling show, Championship Bowling, developed. And in this segment, we'll see Dick Weber take on Carmen Salvino, one of the most colorful bowlers of all time.
Needing 696 to make the finals, the All-American from St. Louis, Dick Weber. From Chicago, Illinois, needing 675 to make the finals, Carmen Salvino. Dick Weber, 2-time national individual match game champion. One of 3 men to win that title 2 years in a row, joining the great Andy Papa and Don Carter. Dick Weber, an All-American on any man's bowling team. At the 7, he covers the strike. Carmen cocks that wrist, little finger on top of the ball, throw, too tight again, and he got away with one. The 4-7 out of there. Weber left a 7-pin in the first frame, came back with a strike, then he was too high. Left the 6-pin, he's been in the pocket ever since. One more. There it is. All the way home. All the way home for Dick Weber, one of the real great champions. They call him the Cracker, the Splinter, the Thin Man from St. Louis.
One of the most significant victories in Dick's career was the 1976 AMF Pro Classic, where he came against one of the new gunslingers on the tour, Earl Anthony.